Hey guys, welcome back to another session of Wisdoms, Real Estate and Life Wisdoms with the two of us.
The two of us, and we're going to be talking about if success leaves clues, what are the clues? Because you're going to find out with us.
This is an awesome episode. You better listen to it, otherwise we're going to hunt you down.
Okay, see you. Cam, tell me about your thoughts on the current market because it's really dynamic at the moment. There are a lot of things happening.
Yeah, bit of real estate talk. So It's a big month for us in real estate. We have our Canterbury Awards, then our national awards, and then the international awards for Harcourt. So there's a lot of celebrating and stuff within Harcourt's Gold. We had our Canterbury Awards last week. So I think we had 9 in the top 30.
We had 9 in the top 30. We had number 1 and number 3 for individual consultants, so people who work without additional real estate consultants on board with them. Both of those people did exceptionally well, Mark O'Loughlin and Leanne Marriott, so really proud of them. And then took a bevy of awards for officers, particularly Papanui.
Yeah.
Really, really outstanding. And you, Cameron, number 1 for the 12th year, was it?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, nice speech.
Team. Yeah.
Beautiful team. Love that you wait while they all go up on stage. I think that's really indicative of the way you lead. You know, you're always putting other people first, and it's a beautiful sign of a great leader. Yeah.
Well, I did read this great book a while ago called Who Not How, and it's all about having the right people around you.
It is.
And like a lot of people deciding what they want to do. And I think the biggest thing is identifying who you want around me. And one of my successes in life have been able to identify the right people I've got to have around me at the right times. And that includes you and John. You're a who for me, and you've got me to where I am.
I'm a who for Cameron. Yeah. So I like that.
That's the whole thing. But the market itself, I think it's wonderful at the moment. I describe it as our market.
Yeah.
You know, like people that are working hard and really good at what they do, they can actually get great results in this.
And have expertise. Yeah. And they're able to be courageous, because there's a lot of courageous conversations required at the moment. You know, because not too long ago, we just people just automatically put some pretty hefty margins on the price expectations. And I think now, you know, as we travel through this market and we get more real, it takes really good people to be able to convince you to do that.
We did 110, just to put some numbers around it, last month for April, we did 110 sales in the Papanui office, which I think our booming month is about 131, 132.
You got it, 131.
And doom and gloom probably in 2008, 2009, we were down to 70, something like that. Yeah. So we're certainly not a bad market, but we're working really, really hard to get sales together. And, you know, like we're actually trying to there's a gap opened up between buyers and sellers. And I think in the last 6 weeks to 2 months, there's been a lot of new characteristics come into the market.
Talk through that. Tell me that.
Yeah, I think first of all, everyone's talking about interest rates. Yeah. And, you know, they've obviously gone from really low to, you know, normal rates again. So they're at 6-7% for residential, which is not super, super high, but it's high compared to where we've come off at 2.99 or 2.75. So people are really feeling it. Last year they were talking about it, but they weren't feeling it. This year
it's kind of caught up, hasn't it? Like it's coming true. I mean, I know John and myself, we've had exactly that same thing, you know.
We all have. There's not a person in New Zealand that has a mortgage and not feeling it at the moment. We've had a commercial loan come off that was 3.75, comes back on at 9. You know, it hurts everybody. So, but, you know, an example of that also I've seen is that, you know, I've just sold a house in Marshlands, and it was worth about $800,000. He was an accountant, so it was very numbers based. He knew exactly what that house cost him to run, and just to run the house, just to live in the house. So his mortgage, the rates and the insurance for an $800,000 house was costing them $12,000 a year more just to live in it, extra. So $1,000 a month. And that's a lot of money.
It's a lot to find, isn't it?
A lot of money. And that's not even including petrol, and it's not including food and all the other cost of living. So they weren't struggling to pay the bills, but it just was compromising their lifestyle. So the decision they made was to sell it, to take some money off the table and buy a slightly cheaper property. The story with that is we actually sold that in a multi-offer, and they got more than what they thought they were going to get, which was wonderful. 40 grand more at an $800,000 house. Wow. So that to me shows that the market was there, but a lot of people out there are trying to make wise decisions. Yeah. So interest rates are a factor, they're really pinching at the moment, where last year they weren't. We had Tony Alexander come to the office this week.
So he's coming and doing kind of almost like an annual State of the Nation with us, and a bit of difference creeping in there. And you and I talked about that job security.
Well, he's always pro property, which is why we get him in, because he pumps everyone up. I mean, last year he was saying we're going to get 5% increase in property this year, and then he come back this year and he said, well, I made a mistake.
He said, I had a blind spot.
Yeah.
First time I've heard him say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he gave us a really somber review of what the economy and what the market in real estate is going to be like in the next couple of years. And basically he's saying interest rates and cost of living are a factor, but he reckoned the biggest factor out there is security around jobs and, the public sector at the moment. There's lots of redundancies being made. So the feeling out there is that people are just a little bit nervous on what's going to happen in the next few months and maybe the next few years. So basically he's saying it'll be 2026 before we start to see any lift in prices and the economy start to move again. This week, Australia's put their cash rate up. So they're trying to still pull inflation down.
Correct.
Very similar in America, and he thinks New Zealand's going to be the same. So maybe a few more increases in the cash rate. So it's certainly going to be a challenging 18 months, I think,
But those people that are deciding to sell, I think when they go to people who are knowledgeable, really astute as far as the marketplace is concerned, and can make significant differences to the results, are coming to you and are coming to our company, which is bloody good.
We're gobbling up a little bit more market share at the moment, and I think Harcourt's as a company is gobbling up a little bit more market share because of the grunt behind Harcourt's having all the agents. But this is a wonderful market to be a real estate agent, and there's a lot more skill required. It's more fun, but there are rewards there as well. I had 9 options yesterday. I sold 4. There was competitive bidding on all of those options actually, and to be honest, we should have probably sold another one, which was the 5th one. So but we've had to work really hard to keep buyers on there. And there was actually funny things happening. Like we had a buyer come into one of the auctions, and another agent was taking him through another property at 9 o'clock before the auction. So everyone's fighting for sales at the moment because there's just more stock out there. So,
and the buyers aren't connecting completely, are they? Other marketplaces, they attach to that property and they'll just follow it through thick and thin. Now they're kind of sort of interested, sort of attaching, but they will move off just as quickly.
It's all coming together in the final week because they go through a property and they think, well, I've got 2 extra weeks to have a look around. They're hunting out to see if they can find a better house at a better price. If they can, they'll buy that other house. If they can't, then maybe the final week they'll lock back into it. So some of our campaigns are coming together in the final week. And it's just because, and Tony said this, it's a buyer's market at the moment. And we've got to get our head around that. But if you're buying and selling, which is what probably 60 or 70% of people are doing at the moment, it doesn't make any difference because you get a little bit less for your place, but you're going to pick it up.
Pay a little bit less on the other side.
The other thing Tony talked about is a bright line.
Correct.
So 1st of July, that's coming off, and he's expecting there to be a washer property come on. I already know, a dozen people that are just going to put their house on the market come then.
All their investments, and just sort of take that, as you always say, Cam, take that money off the table, make life a little bit easier. It's like Kenny Rogers says, you've got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And we like Kenny.
We do.
Now, I've got a question for you, Cam. It's come in from people and they've said, hey, you guys are always saying success leaves clues, and we are. Tell us some of the clues. I want to know.
I mean, my biggest clue is people, I love having the right people around me, and it's not just for business and real estate, but I think it's for life. It's the world's so small these days. You can have people around you even watching podcasts that are your podcasts that you watch all the time, and you can learn what they're doing with their life and how they're living,
like
what they're eating, and all that sort of stuff. And that's what I love about social media, is that you can actually surround yourself with your tribe. So people's the biggest thing with me. It certainly helped me with my real estate career. Like I talked before about who, not how, and one of my things is I've always tried to get the right people around me and the right advisors. I mean, don't be scared to ask people. I mean, I know a lot about property, residential and commercial, and when I buy a property, I still ring up 3 or 4 people. And I know people out there buying houses and they just go through the house, and I know they don't talk to anyone. They don't seek any advice.
It's so true, because I know that when we look at something, John will often say, Cam, could you have a look at this? What do you think? And like I say to you sometimes, we're supposed to be, know everything, but we simply don't. We've still got to get advice from others about what to do, and that's why people call.
I still remember when I was buying a house for myself a couple of years ago, and you said to me,
I remember the house.
You remember the house?
I do.
When we'd separated, and I was looking for a house for myself, and I just needed a solution to a problem, and I just wanted to go buy a house real quickly. And you said to me, what the hell are you doing? You're acting like a red zone buyer. And told me not to buy it. And I didn't buy it. Probably should have. But anyway, I did it.
You'd probably still have it now to be, but at the time I didn't think that it worked for what you were trying to do, And
it wasn't the right thing, because acting emotionally, not analytically.
Yeah.
And I was trying to buy a solution to a problem, and I was going to pay too much for it and all this sort of thing. But I think sometimes you need someone to pull the reins back on you, or just to say, hey, maybe there's another way to do this, So I think take advice, surround yourself by the right people. That's the biggest thing you can do.
So those are two of the clues. So if success leaves clues, people.
Yeah.
Be with the right people. Be with the right tribe.
Yeah.
And the other thing is take advice. Don't be an island, that sits out there on its own thinking that you know everything.
Yeah.
Everybody knows something.
And always be learning. You can always
be curious.
You can always be better. I think that I'm the number one agent in New Zealand for real estate, and I'm always looking at what else I can do better. Who else can I learn from? What else can I do? And sometimes the lessons come from people you don't expect, and it could be,
isn't that so
it could
beautiful?
be someone in the office that has just started real estate, but they've come from another career, and they're just doing something or saying something a little bit different than what I'm doing. And it's easy when you get to where I am to think you know it all, but you don't. Then you stop learning, you start going backwards.
Yeah. You know what I also hear in that? I hear a massive amount of humility, and I think that has accompanied you throughout your whole career.
Yeah.
And, I think a good dose of humility is also going to help you with being successful.
Yeah.
We've met people in our career who are constantly telling you how good they are through every possible media. We've had some recent examples of that. And, you get behind it all and they're not. If they're a long way from it.
Unfortunately, real estate's full of ego. There's so many agents out there who are all over social media, and they're driving fast cars, and they've all got big loans on them, and behind the scenes they've got no money.
Yeah.
How
does that work?
And it's all ego. First of all, you've got bad advisors around you. Second of all, you're probably working in the wrong company because you haven't got the right people trying to help you through these situations. So, I'm big on ego and trying to take a lot of it out of it. And I've been through stages in my life where I've had lots of ego, and I've had fast cars on social media and all that sort of stuff. But we're trying to be
calmer around all of that, because there's so much more to life.
The one thing that I know is that it won't make you happy.
Yeah.
What's your clues to success?
Well, I think that it includes an incredible mindset. I think, and then you've got to have a lot of intentionality. So I think you have got to think, gee whiz, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could actually join this company, or do this sale, or meet these people, or construct this life. So I think you've got to have the desire and the vision. And sometimes that comes from others. Most people aren't their own visionary. They've got to get it from somewhere else. So I think it starts from having a vision of what a successful life, and I'm not talking financially, I'm talking about what a successful life really looks like. So I think you've got to have that mindset, and then the intentionality, then you bloody well got to work hard. So I don't have a belief that success comes without effort. So I've been always very comfortable with being the hardest worker in the room. Both of us have been, and the people that we work with, our business partners, Chris, Michelle and John, certainly hold to that, and the people that we work with, we're really comfortable in that space. It's part of our DNA, but those are the sorts of things that I think, great mindset, a good plan, that's being intentional around it, people like you've said, and then working bloody hard. And for me, being successful has been about family. I'm huge on family. They have been with me through my whole journey. When we had, I had our youngest son when I was still selling at that stage, and I had to get back to work pretty quickly because we'd bought a new company, but my folks moved in and helped and filled that gap. So family's a big thing for me.
I think two things. I think also a lot of people look too short-sighted in what they want to do with their life. It's always about this year and then the next year. I mean, I've always tried to think 5 or 10 years ahead, and then you get the bigger picture and you're more creative because, and then it's not about...
And you can take more risks because you've got a bit more time, haven't you?
It's easy in real estate to make it about the results. Hey, I want to be the number one agent, you're always going to lose. There's always going to be someone that comes and knocks you off your perch, and you're always going to feel like you failed at some stage. So you're setting yourself up for failure. But if you think about a bigger picture, and I've always tried to use real estate and work as a vehicle. And that gets me to what I want to do. It gets me to go on holiday with my family, or to to go and do a cold plunge retreat with Wim Hof, or all these beautiful things that I want to do in my life that are on my bucket list. Real estate's my vehicle.
It is. That was like last year, this time last year I was in South Africa. Looking at the Big Five and then giving a talk to at a South African conference. So, and all of those sorts of things. So yes, it's an incredible vehicle. So I hope that you have got some ideas about, there's some good clues about success, but
I got another question.
I was going to get one in there, but you do it.
I get asked a lot when I go to all the awards and win all the awards. I have all these agents text me the next day saying, "Can you give me a tip? What made you, what got you to where you are? And I never really know how to answer it. But I mean, once again, I'm going back to the people. But you've been a big part of that. You've been my coach since I started. I think 19 years ago. And in my opinion, you're the best real estate coach in New Zealand because you have worked with some of the most magnificent agents in your career.
I have.
And
it's been my absolute privilege.
And you've got me from the very, very, very bottom rung of, of starting in real estate when I was 26 years old to the very, very top rung in New Zealand as an international agent now. And I mean, you must have seen something inside me that, you thought was worth polishing up, and what you've got to me. But I mean, what makes you this wonderful real estate coach? I mean, what skills or what do you see in someone, and how do you bring out the best of them?
Gosh, I mean, firstly, thank you. I mean, that's an incredible compliment from a peer and somebody that I hold in enormous esteem. So what is it? I'm a big listener. I'm a really, really big listener, and I think that I can hear things that other people don't even see. I mean, even to explain it in that way kind of sounds slightly odd, but I can see and feel things in people that I think they want to achieve. And over the years, I've been able to accumulate, a number of skills in that place. So I'm a great listener. I'm very innovative and dynamic. So I'm always learning, I'm always curious. So I'm keen to utilize all the skills the person that I'm working with has and all the skills that I have, so that you've got double the strength. I'm not the sort of person that stands back and just lets you do your own thing. I'm constantly thinking, how can we be better? How can we refine that? And I just stay the course. I've got the capacity to hang on. I can work hard for decades.
You lead from the front.
I lead from the front. I'm not sort of thinking, I'm a bit weary now. You can make your way. And the other thing is that I've learnt, Cam, is you just don't know how far people can go. I don't put a cap on that.
I was just going to say, in my mind, what I think you see is a potential they don't see within themselves, and you've got the ability to see that because. I mean, I've even had my auntie and uncle who pushed me into real estate say to me, "We thought you'd be good, but not as good as what you did." And I think that that was what you saw.
Yes.
And, then you had the skills to polish it up to make it the gem that it is. But I think you can see a level that people can't see within themselves, and then you're good enough to push them.
And to understand what that means.
And to understand how to get there. And I think you're almost looking 10 years in advance of what this person can be. And we can see that within Harcourt's Gold, with not just me, But we've
the
got
people coming
we've
along.
got all these wonderful people that have started off. Jack Milligan's, working his way up through the ranks.
Harrison, Anthony, Drew, all of these guys, Lydia.
So all of these people,
so fantastic.
we can see when we go to the awards. What we can see is Harcourt's Gold people slowly working their way up through the ranks and becoming better and better and better agents. A lot of the other companies out there, the agents come stuck. They can't move up the ranks and they don't know how to expand their business. They've got wonderful businesses, but they can't move to the next level.
But I think everybody's fearful. Like the people that work with them think, oh shivers, I can't ask them to do this because what if they don't like it, and what if they don't agree with it? Like, I'm not fearful in that space. Let's have a go. We'll walk down that road together. I don't have that
but
fear.
It's also just not working hard. Because I see agents out there working their guts out, but they're still not moving up through the ranks because they're still doing stuff wrong.
Exactly. That's where that beautiful coach comes in, eh?
Yeah. So once again, surround yourself by the right people.
Beautiful people. So we, it's incredible to be at this stage in our 10 years and to be basically at the top of our game nationally and internationally within our brand, but there's so much more to give.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about the future and the people that I'm starting to work with now. It really is such a wonderful opportunity to help others. So I love that. Now, what I was going to ask you about, Cameron Bailey, we did have a question about balance.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you about that first. Cameron, life work balance.
I'm going to be honest. My first 10 years in real estate, there was absolutely none.
Yeah.
Not
ideal.
And I still struggle with it today. It's still a constant battle to try and have some work-life family balance because when you get to my level, it's really challenging because you're always on the phone. And when you get home, you've been on the phone so much and dealing with stuff that you don't want to talk to people. So it's really difficult. So I'm aware of it, and I think the first thing is becoming aware of it, and then you can sort of try to work with it. But I try and have Fridays off now, like I've said in this before. But there's always an excuse. I've always got to go somewhere or do something. But I'm trying to be a lot better. I think it's really important because I used to almost be fearful that if I didn't work, I'd miss out on something.
Yeah. And didn't take that call. They wouldn't call back. Yeah.
And now I know that the more holidays and the more times I'm off and the more breaks I can have, the better I am. And I got a taste of that last week because I've just been to Fiji. and I had a few nights over there and it was wonderful and stress-free and 34 degrees compared to
unlike -1 today. He came here and actually turned our bloody heaters on because he thought it was cold.
True. But I came back from Fiji and I was a little bit weary and run down before I went because I hadn't really had much time off and it was our busy season and the market's challenging. So we're dealing with stress and pressure and sales all the time. So, and before I left, I was a little bit weary and I wasn't really enjoying the open homes and the weekends. I just knew I needed a break. And I come back in my first weekend back last weekend. I loved it. And I could just feel in the open homes I was full of energy and connected and I was good and I was getting appraisals and I was back to what I would call, me at my best. Yeah. So it just showed me that I've got to have more holidays and more breaks.
You totally do.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But it's a work in progress.
It is a work in progress.
How about you? What about your work
I think I have more balance than certainly you do, Cam, but I still, now I still work, 6 days a week and sometimes into that 7th, work can come on, get into it. I prep every Sunday. That can take me, 4 to 5 hours. My family would say that it's getting a little bit unbalanced at the moment because I'm finding with the market I want to be more available and I'm really working hard in that business planning space. I've just done business planning for 5 of our offices and we're going into business planning for our whole consultants team. So I'm probably tipping away from balance at the moment, but I do know, like you, that great breaks and time with my family just refocuses me and regrounds me, and I've actually got to sort of just get back to that. So that's the thing.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I don't think you could work as much as we do unless you loved what you do.
Yeah, true.
And I still really love going to work. I love seeing my PAs and my team when I get in there, even if it's just for a little bit in the morning when I see them before I head out for the day. But I love seeing you and John and talking to you guys. And, you know, like I genuinely love real estate. I have these wonderful people that I meet, and, you know, we've just sold a house for some people, and they're the nicest people. And I've got this whole mantra: we don't want bullshit vendors. You know, we want people that, you know,
no bullshit.
Yeah, we want people around us that are great people.
Good people.
You know?
Yeah, you'll do your utmost for them.
And we've just sold this house for these guys, and we sold the house off the market. And I always think great things happen for great people. And, you know, they got me around to appraise their house. I sold it off the market and sold them another house that was off the market all within a week. And it was just some real estate magic.
Yeah.
But they were the nicest people out there. Every time that I met them or saw them in the day, they'd send me a text in the evening just to say thanks very much. And even anyone in my team that they had a transaction with or they did something with, they would text them personally that night just to say thanks. And they practice gratitude. And like everyone in my team just loves these people. I won't mention the house or where they are, but it was such a refreshing experience. And it was also a lesson in that, because if you be grateful and you have gratitude,
good things happen.
Beautiful things happen. Totally. They got a great price for their house. They bought the house that they wanted to buy, and their whole transaction was wonderful. Wow. So, you know, I think that's what I love so much about real estate. It's not doing 300 sales a year. It's actually the people that you meet. And when you meet people like that, because you have great conversations with those people.
Yeah, you learn.
And they're business people, and I love talking to them about the economy, and I love talking to them about how they've created wealth and how they run their family life and what work-life balance they've got. It's amazing what we talk about around the real estate table. Yeah,
it so is. Now, final question.
Yeah.
Morning rituals. What you do to set up your day in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a busy man. I get up at 5:30 every morning. I go to the gym, or I have a hyperbaric chamber at home, or a cold plunge session, whatever I do, or a sauna session. So I do that 6 days a week. And
then you have a day of rest.
Yeah, and I have a day of rest on Sunday. But 6 days a week, I'm up at 5:30, and, you know, I've fluctuated time. Sometimes I've got up a bit later.
Yeah.
I've got up earlier at 4:30 as well, but I think 5:30 is a really good time for me. And then I'm basically training or doing stuff until 7 o'clock in the morning when I get home, get kids ready and take them to school and all that sort of stuff. So that's my big thing. I'm always in the office at 8:15, so drop the kids off at 8:15 I'm in the office and ready for my work day. So clockwork, I'm walking in the door every morning at that time basically. My first port of call for the day is to see Sam, who basically runs my world, and she sets me up for the day, and then I'm off out doing everything. But I think my first port of call for the day is my mind. I haven't got my phone on me, do some exercise, and that sets me up for a day of pressure and stress and fast-paced real estate. And if Brendan and our team, he's got a broken foot at the moment, and he can't do his running, he can't do his gym exercise, and we're really feeling him hurting, because his morning ritual's been ruined because he can't go out riding, he can't go out running. So it's so important. If you're gonna work at high performance levels in any career that you're gonna do, you need to do extra stuff outside of work, probably, to make sure your mind and your body's good.
Is prepared. That's so. I mean, there's another clue. If success leaves clues, that morning ritual, that getting prepared is crucial. I do exactly the same thing. So we're both early morning risers. So I'm anywhere from 4:40 to 5:30. Getting up, I like to go for a walk. I like to do sort of 2 or 3 Ks, listen to a podcast. I then do a little bit of reading before I ever look at my phone, because I was looking at my phone too early, and that was just winding me up, and that's not a good start to the day. And then I read my goals or my journal. You know, I'm grateful for things. Cold shower, resistance exercise, and I've packed my lunch. And then I'm at the office at 7:30. So there is like no time to muck about. And John's doing the same. So, I mean, and all of us have done these things for years. So that's probably a really good bloody signal for what you need to do as well.
I love making the most of the day. You know, that's that beautiful window. between 5 and sort of 7 o'clock when
Yeah.
most people aren't up.
Yeah.
It's easy to control it in the morning,
Yeah.
when in the evening it's really difficult because
Yeah.
life's a whirlwind.
Yeah.
And,
There's not much left in the evening for me.
No, I mean,
my tank's empty.
I'm always in bed by sort of 10 o'clock at the very latest. You're probably in bed about 7.
Yeah. No,
30?
I've got to 8:30, but it's
8:30,
holding on.
Jesus, that's extravagant, isn't it?
Brat. Yes, but I'm trying to hold on longer.
So morning rituals are important.
Oh.
I find that all the successful people that I know have got morning
Yeah,
rituals,
they
whether
have.
that be exercise or meditation or
Yeah.
walking
Yeah.
or
Reading.
a book.
Yep.
It could be something as simple as that. The simplest things are the best things to do
Yeah.
probably at those times. So,
Oh.
that's probably a pretty important tip if you're
It
going to be
is,
successful
it
in
is.
life.
Well, Cam, I hope everybody's happy with our thoughts and
Yeah.
wisdoms for May. We're back again very, very soon.
Yeah.
And once again, wonderful to get those questions and keep
Yeah.
sending them.
We really enjoy doing this.
Yeah,
so,
we do.
your questions.
It brings out the best in us, I think.
Your questions help us because, we're actually doing this to help other people.
Yeah.
So, we've got a lot of knowledge and information that we
We have.
can put across to people.
We
and we
have.
love hearing your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.